Hi there, Nicky Does here with another bamboo feeder. This is a PandaPlacer BambooFeeder AS1.1 video, and we're going to be talking about how to load some small components, some 8mm tape into these. I don't know, some people I think have not done that before, and certainly not with this feeder, so I'll show you some of the things that I've discovered and some tricks that work well for me to do this. We'll get started with one of the easier things, which is loading some components that have a nice long exposed cover tape on it. I think that's probably the easiest. We can do another one where we have to put some leader tape extension on there because maybe that's too short and these components may be high value. These are just capacitors, so these are relatively inexpensive and I'm not too worried about it. But we should probably show a couple of those things. Maybe we'll do that in some separate videos. I don't know, we'll see how long this gets. In any case, let's get started with loading the 8mm tape into the bamboo feeder. So first off, just taking a refresher on where the tape goes through the feeder. This is the feed throat right here. It comes up through this arc and drops down, and the empty tape, the tape without any parts in it, exits out the front. And if we look at the actual PandaPlacer machine, the A1, that is really convenient because the tapes come in from the back outside here, outside the machine's sort of body or frame. Then they come up through here. Let's get some more light on over here. Then they come up through here and they drop down in the center of the machine. There's a fairly wide open space in the center and you'd have some empty tapes just kind of collecting in the center of the machine. And there's nothing going on in there. There's no motion or anything. So that's all great. And then you can clean that up, cut off whatever's extra after you run a few boards. So that really does, I mean, it's a great design because the board area is right here. And then you have all this space for feeders on the left, right, and even some in the front. And I do have, I've shown this before in different videos, but I do have some strip feeders in the center for larger parts too. So yeah, let's take a look at how this all gets loaded up onto a feeder and we'll go from there. This should be a fun video. Let's get you clicked back in here. There we go. All right. Get the light back in place, and we looked at this already, so we'll put that aside, and we'll take a look at the feeder and this tape, and we'll start pushing the tape up through the throat. And I've already moved this servo back, so if you just assembled this one and the servo is all the way full forward, that means this advancing pawl will be jammed into the front. The black advancing pawl, let's get you zoomed in here a little. The black advancing pawl right here will be jammed into this front, and that's done so that you have a stop reference every single time so that the component is the same place every time. So because that's jammed in there, it'll be hard for you to lift this. So I've already taken a screwdriver, which is over here, and I've already pushed this servo out of the way a bit. So if you've you can just push the servo and rotate it out of the way a little bit. Push it from the left side if this is the front. Push it from the left side and rotate it back a bit. And then you can grab this flaggy thing. Let's get some white behind there for contrast. You can grab this flaggy bit here and lift that up if you need to. All right, so let's push that in there and we'll hear it clicking through already. And it's going to hit this non-return pawl here and stop. So what I do then is I take a small flat blade screwdriver and I just gently lift that non-return pawl up and straddle on both sides of the white part. I straddle and lift that black part up. Now I can push this through much easier. And I'm going to keep pushing through until I see the cover tape coming through attached. So I'm looking right here. And it seems like it should be coming up already. No parts yet. Nope, not yet. There it is. All right, so now I see the cover tape coming up through there. I can take my that flat screwdriver out of there, and instead I'll use it to lift the top. The cover tape is folded back on itself, so I'm going to be pulling through the released cover tape. I've made a little bubble loop of it, and I can pull the released one out here. Look, it just came out of the slot in between the feeder right there. So that's all right. I can pull that all back. And now I've got the cover tape. If I pulled this back, I'd actually expose a couple components. And if they were expensive components, if this was still up here like this, we can actually now return this back a little bit. Let's get this up a little higher. And we can now pull the tape back a little bit. All right, so I've just lifted this flaggy bit here on the advancing pawl. So now there are no components showing in the window, which is nice because if you don't want to waste any components, that's a great way to do it. So we could also adjust this screw down a bit. We don't need to, but I'm going to drop this down. Give me 1 second to watch carefully. There we go. I dropped this down until I just saw the gap in here starting to close. And we want to make sure this tape is still able to move freely in there. And the only reason I dropped that down was because it does kind of sit a little bit in the way of the cover tape. So the next thing we have to do is take the cover tape and wrap it around this take-up spool. And it comes in from the bottom. So maybe counterintuitive, I don't know. Oh, I'm missing my ring for that. I thought I had that ring here. Let's find the ring. Here's the ring. My bag of rings. Okay. And I thought I had everything sitting here in place. So here's the ring, and it has a diagonal slot cut in it. And I need to look in real life because I can't really see it on the camera. There it is. It is this diagonal slot in it. So what I'm going to do with that is to start back here pretty far on my cover tape. Make sure it's flat so it's not twisted. And I'm going to slide that cover tape into the diagonal ring from the outside in. Like that. And I'll leave, I don't know, 2-3 centimeters hanging out on the inside here. And then what I'm going to do is to set this over it's kind of hard to do on camera. I blame it on you guys for watching me. Set this over right here. Set this over the bumps that it has to be in. I'll kind of just see if I can get that to all hang out nicely inside there. So you want the ring to sit on top of the protrusions that are inside there. So the protrusions sitting on the inside of the ring match some dimples that are on the external of this take-up spool. And then remember it turns clockwise like this. So I'm going to roll up a bit of that on here. Bit of that cover tape. And then it'll have traction. Now it can kind of pick that up. And I'll set that back over the, I don't know, pickup pawl gear thing or something like that. Now I can rotate it like it's supposed to rotate until that's fairly taut, as in tight. And then of course I'll put the take-up spool cover back on. This is all printed in black material so you can't really even see it. And I'll give that a little toitin'. Squeak, 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 click. Yep, that's great. So it's nice and tight. And that does not have to rotate. In fact, it should not and will not rotate. But this back part will. The front part, the cover, will not rotate. So that is now 100% loaded. If you were to advance this, yeah, that would load. Should probably look at how to unload this now, and I guess I'll do this all in one video. So if you wanted to unload it, the best way to unload it is to lift up these pawls. There's so remember, this one pushes it forward, so it won't go back. This one keeps it from going backward. So really all we have to do is take off the cover tape spool again. the one that I just put all that effort into making work. Unreel the cover tape, pull it out of there, get that out of the way, lift up this return pawl, and pull out the strip. So that's one of the advantages of the 1.1 is this little handle is here. I think it needs a bump right there. I think it should have something so you don't have to necessarily squeeze so hard, or it could have more of a hook here so that you can put your finger in there a little better and lift. It's got somewhat of a hook, but I think it could use a little more. More of a good thing, right? So that one was pretty straightforward. And then if you, I don't know that I have to demonstrate this in great detail, but if you didn't have enough leader on here, you can cut off some of this leader tape that came with your PandaPlacer A1 and you stick it on to the cover tape. So if it's brand new, it's the easiest because you take a piece of this. Let's see if we can get this done here. I think the hardest part, like any roll of tape, the hardest part of the taping job is finding the start of it. And yes, I should have done the little fold over trick, but I did not. And we'll see how long this is going to take. There it is. All right. I did not sharpen my fingernails this morning. There we go. So we'll want a little section of this tape, 15, 20 centimeters long section like that. And what we would do on a brand new one is we would stick this tape right on top of the cover tape, and you're going to go back 4 or 5 centimeters on it. And you do not want to cover the sprocket holes at all. You just want to stick it to the cover tape, and you want to rub that down nicely onto there, like that. And then we would do the same sort of thing here, but I've debated about this. I've toyed around with this and I haven't tried this, so I'd be interested in comments on this. But I've debated about cutting this far too long and then just folding it over on itself to hide the sticky surface. So let's do that right here on camera. This is like, we're innovating live right here on Nikki Does. This is what we do here is we try and fail. So I've thought about doing something like that. So now you have the cover tape. Now you can do I think you can do the same thing we did before where you take this thing and push it up the feeder throat until it starts clicking. Lifting this pawl. This one needs a shark fin on it too to help you lift it up. So I'm going to do that with the screwdriver right now. There's the start of the cover tape, which is now obvious because it's bright yellow. And I should be able to get this under here again. And lift this out and start pulling. There we go. Yeah, I think that was pretty easy. Now the question is, did I have enough of the non-whatever tape? And I don't think I did. To get around the back here and hook up to the spool, I didn't leave enough tape in there. So I'd have to go with longer tape. But the rest of the process is very much the same. Now as you start to pull this back, it'll pull the clear cover tape along with this piece of actual adhesive tape, and you'd be right back to where you were, and you wouldn't have to waste a bunch of components to get some leader tape off the top. So yeah, I hope that's clear enough. And if it's not, of course, send me a comment and I'll improve the video with further detail. But otherwise, yeah, that's what I wanted to show for this video. Thanks for watching.